Hey there everyone, the long-awaited Valhalla DLC, Siege of Paris, has finally been released, and you wanna know if it's any good. Well, I'm here to tell you all about it and give you a comprehensive review of the whole thing. I'm not going to include any story spoilers so you can feel safe watching this video. But first, let me remind you to subscribe to the channel if you want more Assassin's Creed content and to follow me on my socials to always keep up to date with what I do. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. The Siege of Paris is the long-awaited second big expansion for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. At first we thought it would be the last expansion pack for the game, but since then Ubisoft has revealed that there's one more expansion coming this year related to Muspelheim, and that the game will still receive more updates in a year 2 update cycle. So there's still a lot more content coming. In this DLC though, we get to go to the famous city of Paris and visit a bit of its surrounding areas filled with danger, mystery and plague. I'm very happy to report that the map is neither too big or too small. I was pleasantly surprised when I opened up the menu and saw what we got. The fields around the main city of Paris are big enough to include stuff for you to do and interesting places for you to visit, and still feel compact enough that you're not spending most of your time riding your horse instead of actually playing the game. As for the beauty of the region itself, well, it has amazing landscapes of beautiful fields and some disease-ridden places. It's very medieval, which, you know, makes sense, and honestly I am a sucker for this type of stuff, so I absolutely loved almost every single place in this map. Paris has similarities to the best cities in England, but its true DNA shines through to make it stand out amongst the others. In contrast with Dublin, it feels very unique and a really cool addition to the game. The rooftops are also one of the highlights of the city since they allow you to feel somewhat like an assassin, breezing through undetected from the threats below. Sadly, it reminded me just how much better all of this would have been if one of the core pillars of the franchise, in this case parkour, was still intact. Overall, I really enjoyed my time in Francia, and it reminded me of another game that I absolutely love, Plague Tale: Innocence, which, curiously enough, also takes place in France. Regarding gameplay, I'm very happy with a lot of stuff that's in this DLC. Since we're in Francia now, of course, we need some sort of recurring mission system. In Ireland, we had the pigeon coops to gain riches, and here we have the rebel missions. You're first introduced to them when you reach the new region for the first time by Pierre. Basically, you can choose a mission from a list where you can help a group of rebels complete a certain objective. Completing these missions will increase your infamy level, which as it increases, so will your rewards increase. The rewards are denarii, which is a currency that you can then use to either upgrade your rebel group, which accompanies you in missions, or weapons and cosmetics. There's only one problem with them, and that is you can't select multiple missions at the same time. And after you complete one, you have to report back to a rebel base to receive your reward and pick the next mission, which can get annoying and is just there to prolong your gaming sessions. All in all, it's a fun little addition with cool rewards that will give you stuff to do if you want to spend some time in the region. Besides these quests, there are many world activities for you to do. Berserker fights are now called Frankish noble fights, so it's just a name change, but it's the same concept, and the icon is also pretty similar on the map. There are cursed artifacts, freaking cairns, offerings, a new legendary animal, and raids of course are still present in the experience, although not a lot. And honestly, I feel like the distribution in the map feels about right. It's spread apart enough that you can find almost everything by just naturally exploring. Also, one thing that I'm pretty happy to report is that world events are back after being absent from Wrath of the Druids. Back in my previous review, I noted that the absence of world events was really disappointing because they can be a vehicle to learn more about the region's folklore and history. And the Siege of Paris has some lackluster world events, but also includes some really interesting ones. So, overall, it's a step in the right direction. They're not amazing, but more work in world events and less work in cairns or offerings would be tremendously appreciated. Oh, another new activity I guess we could say is the Roman excavations. These are connected to a Hidden Ones quest where you need to find 3 keys hidden in bureaus spread around the map in order to open up the main one in the outskirts of Paris. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I feel like they should have done more with the Hidden Ones. It's an Assassin's Creed game and we barely get anything related to assassins. I feel like this could have been so much better. In terms of bugs, my experience was actually quite stable to my surprise. From my side, I don't think I can count many bugs happening, so good job, felt way more stable than Druids for me for sure. Okay, by now you must be wondering what this DLC brings in terms of new stuff to the table, besides the rebel missions of course. Well, there are 3 new abilities. We have Plague of Rats, where you can send a pack of bloodthirsty rats onto enemy guards and they die a gruesome death. Ghoul Breath, where you shoot an arrow with such a vile poison that they get sick and die horribly, scaring other guards around them, which will run away. And finally, Golden Flame, where you grab an enemy and stuff them with a bomb, which will then make them explode. And besides abilities, we have my absolute favorite new thing in this DLC, black box missions. Very similar to the ones we get in Assassin's Creed Unity. I gotta be honest, I've always hated how some important quests generally worked since Origins. Like the time I just randomly stumbled across Medunamun and killed him, and suddenly got the memory corridor and I was like, what? Valhalla also had some assassinations like this, where the game is just way too open and there's a million little things that can go wrong, and often do, ruining the experience of the quest for you. Well, black box quests are generally open missions to kill a target, but the player receives opportunities to learn more information about the target's location, weakness, etc. If you pursue these opportunities, you'll be able to reach your target and kill them in a very unique way that is special for each target. This makes the quest feel more linear, and honestly, I'm a fan of memorable assassination quests. Makes my experience feel tighter, more curated, and just overall better in my opinion. At the end of the day, it just made me wish that they had these black box missions for the main game. I hope they become a thing for every single DLC from now on. Now, the story to me felt fine, you know? It starts out strong, loses a bit of steam in the middle, and then just sort of finishes. The highlights are definitely the aforementioned black box missions. One of the biggest disappointments to me is the lack of connection to anything related to the main game. There's no mention of whatever happens in the principal arcs, so basically no mention of Odin, Basim, Hidden Ones, no modern day activities, we get nothing. So the story shares the same problems that the Wrath of the Druids suffered from. It's inconsequential. While in isolation it works and I feel like it's a really good arc in Eivor's story, it could have been a million times better if there were connections to the main storyline and characters. It's like they're trying too hard to make these DLCs super accessible for people to buy and play without spending almost 100 hours finishing the main story. You know, in order to understand what is going on and who is who, but forget that most of their player base has already finished the game and would love to see characters get closure and a more finished and satisfying development. I hope they change this in the future, because otherwise the DLCs won't be worth it for people that are interested in the story and lore. Overall, I really liked the Siege of Paris. It's much better than Wrath of the Druids in almost every single way for me, but I still get out of it with a bittersweet feeling. I really enjoyed my time with it, but I know that I would have absolutely loved it if it had stuff that fans have been asking for years. You know, actual assassin stuff in an Assassin's Creed game. I feel like Paris had such good potential for that, and in the end of the day, it just felt squandered. So, regarding your money, if you want more of the Viking Valhalla action, I feel like you'll enjoy this DLC a lot and you should try it out. But if you're looking for a continuation for Eivor's story, modern day storyline, and or assassin stuff, well, you can save your money and give this one a pass. Alright, I hope I was able to help you figure out if the Siege of Paris is worth it to you. If you want more Assassin's Creed content, remember to subscribe to the channel and to follow me on my socials. Also, consider checking out my new series Assassin's Creed Quick Lore that came out recently. I'll leave a card up in the video and links in the description. Also, if you've enjoyed my review, please consider leaving a like as it helps me out a lot, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!